It's a lot of people who are controlled by a Pharaoh. They're prisoners in life. They're prisoners in relationships. They're prisoners in ideas. They are enslaved to a system from which they cannot be liberated, and they need a liberator that liberates us and sets us free. But freedom, my brothers and sisters, begins in the mind. Freedom begins in the mind. You can be free physically and not be free mentally. One of the great side effects that we struggle through is to embrace the internal freedom that we have externally so that we can go beyond barriers that seem to be fixed in our mind even when the door is open. I've seen people with open doors and never go through them. I've seen people stuck in ghettos and thinking about life, and what they're talking about is life in the ghetto. But they think that it's the whole world, and they say they can't get out, and there are no bars holding them, and they're not handcuffed, and they're not chained. They're not chained physically, but they're chained mentally. That's why if you can't afford to get your children out of ghetto, drive them out, take them on a visit, let them see that there's a world outside of the circumstances you're in, so that their thinking can be evolved and become big enough to embrace all that God has. The real challenge is getting my mind free. But as I'm free in my mind, I can change my circumstances.
And a friend of mine said, you know when people change? And I said, no. He said, when they get to the point when they say, I've had it. I've had it. I can do better than this.
He was in the hog pen. He was broke. He had lost everything. He was deranged and deprived and distraught. But the Bible said he came to himself in this deplorable situation. He came to himself. He didn't get any money in the mail. He didn't meet any fine person that built up his self-esteem. This was an inside job. He came to himself, said, wait a minute, I'm better than this. And the moment he made up his mind to get up, he got up. And I want to tell you something today. The moment you make up your mind to get up, you can get up. And no devil in hell, no system, no government, no power, no boss, no community, or anything else can hold you. Once you are free in your mind, you are free. The Bible says it is with the mind that we serve the Lord. This amazing piece of hard drive that God put in between our ears and is so programmable and so impressionable that there is a constant war between good and evil for the code to be able to program your mind. There's constant war, constant conflict going on as to who gets into your database and who is going to program your mind. Because all that you will do or not do, have or not have, accomplish or not accomplish, will be a direct derivative of what's going on inside of your mind. For it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your thinking has all the world to do with where you are. Your attitude has all the world to do with your altitude. So if you don't get clear thinking on an issue, you won't be able to develop in that area. Most generally, when we talk about that warfare and dealing with the images in our mind, we generally think in terms of sin. But I want to challenge you to understand that you have more to deal with in the warfare in your mind than just sin. You have depression, you have fear, you have phobias, you have insecurities, you have unbeliefs. There are a whole lot of dysfunctional behaviors that were inherently passed on to us, but these are the reverberating consequences of an act of sin that leave you struggling in areas that people cannot see. Lay your hand on your head. Say, this is an awesome machine. I wonder if it's being underutilized.
That's what makes us different than dogs and animals, birds and cats and spiders and alligators. That's what makes us different than all other life forms. The ability to think, the ability to use your mind, the ability to process ideas, and not just operate by instinct. You can order the entire process of your own life. And we do that by the way we think. We do that by exercising our mind. We do that by processing ideas and come up with a better philosophy, a better strategy for our life, goals for the future, plans to achieve those goals. All this comes from developing our philosophy. Think, use your mind, come up with ideas, and strengthen your philosophy. That is the major challenge of life. You don't need a better economy. You don't need better seed and soil. In fact, when it comes to seed and soil and rain and sunshine and seasons and the miracle of life, that's all you got. Now, what if you blame this stuff? Then you're blaming all you got. Guess what I had to do at age 25 in order to change my own future? I had to change my mind. I had to change my thinking. I had to change my philosophy. I was messed up on what was causing my problem. Once I got rid of that and started going for where the real problem was, which was me, I'm telling you, my life exploded into change.
God may be giving you more to work with than what you are working with at this time. You may have far more megabytes and more things that you can potentially do than what you're doing right now. That's why I don't like to hang with low-thinking people, because they'll make you underutilize what God has given you. You need somebody to challenge you that you could be doing more than what you're doing right now. You could have more than you have right now. You could go further than you're going right now. And somebody's got to be bold enough to look you in the face and empower you to go into the enemy's camp and take back what he stole from you. Look at somebody and say, it's time for a change. What stops us from making the changes that we need in our behavior, in our situation, it's the mind. I understand that there are about 1 million what are described as sensory receptors in the brain. Sensory receptors in the brain. That through the brain sensory receptors, we're able to gather and maintain data. About 1 million sensory receptors in your brain. Huge operation in your brain. I just see it as a big electronic board with all kinds of connections going on in your head, whereby you are able to gather and galvanize data. About 1 million receptors, sensory receptors, that are constantly gathering information. While I'm speaking right now, they're operating right now in your brain, making you able not only to hear what I say, but assess my movements, and you're gathering expressed and implied information because you got it like that. You can do 2 or 3 things at the same time, 4 or 5, 6 things at the same time, and gather all of that information all at the same time, because your mind is awesome, you're bright, you're brilliant, you are fearfully and marvelously made. You're an awesome computer full of all kinds of information all the time, spouting out data, thinking and speaking all at the same time. I'm thinking about one thing and speaking something else all at the same time, because we got it like that.